Hey folks, welcome back to What's Next. My name's Nastya, I'm Senior Community Manager here on Total War, and today I'm joined by familiar faces. Rich.
Hi everyone, yeah, I'm Rich. I'm a lifelong Warhammer fan and been working on the series for quite some time, having a lot of fun.
Milcho.
Yeah, hello, I'm Milcho. I'm the lead battle designer on Tides of Torment, here to bring you all the news about units and battles and all that cool stuff.
And of course, Todor.
Yeah, hello folks, my name is Todor, I'm the game director of the Warhammer 3 DLC, and I'm really excited to be here today and to be able to talk about Tides of Torment and 7.0.
Awesome. Well, as you just mentioned, today we're going to be talking a little bit more in detail about our third faction of Tides of Torment, which is High Elves. But before we dive into that and talk all about that, let's address the delay that we informed our players earlier in July. Todor, can you share a little bit more about that decision?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, we all realize that these have been a bit of disappointing news for our players, but the reasons why we opted for a delay is that we brought the DLC to a playable state. We started playtesting it, we got feedback, and it turned out that it wasn't hitting the quality bar that we had set for ourselves. And this is why we needed more time to ensure that the first day experience for our players is the one that they would like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that every character and faction that we add to the game is so important. Everyone's got their favourites, and we just want to do them right and do them justice. So it'll be great to talk about High Elves today and what we're doing there, and how we're bringing a few little extra bits in, sprinkling some extra magic right. Yeah, we're excited by it.
Todor, do you have a release window for us?
Well, right now we're thinking about releasing Tides of Torment somewhere in late October.
Thanks so much. Thank you for the update. Stay tuned for more information on our socials. Back in July, we revealed that Aislinn is indeed our third legendary lord for Tides of Torment. So it won't come as a surprise that we're talking about him today. So tell us more.
Oh, he's one I've been waiting for so long to get my hands on to get into the game, because he's quite different to the High Elves that we've currently got. He is the Sea Lord. He kind of commands essentially like the police of the seas, which protects Ulthuan from all the various different invaders. And he rules with very much like an iron fist. He's gonna take people that cause trouble to, well, out the back and sort it out. So he's a tough cookie, and he comes with all sorts of interesting nautical-based bits and pieces, which I know we've been enjoying working on.
Yeah, quite a bit. What I really like about Aislinn is the fact that he is, efficient, and to the point where he's just being brutal to the enemies of Ulthuan. He's also single-minded and just going after his target, which usually is a real or a perceived threat to the High Elves. And he, on top of that, is a master tactician and a master warrior in his own right.
Yeah, but he really does think that the offense is the best defense.
Yeah.
And preventive strikes on other shores are not something that he is going to be shy of doing, despite of what other High Elves are thinking about it. Yeah, we are trying to represent that in battle as well, where he is going to be one of the good dueler characters, wielding 2 weapons, 1 in each hand. But we're also keeping one of his most iconic abilities from the tabletop, where he's able to buff up archers and make a really good use of them and make the enemies suffer from range. He's going to be quite awesome.
You would like to take some of that beef to Lockyer, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. Especially in the quest battles that he's going to have.
Yeah. That's one of the things that we've been adding back into the mix. So as a part of the delay in trying to improve the quality and overall nature of the package, as Milcho said, we wanted to get a little bit more of that narrative in there for each of the characters, and acknowledge what we did on Omens of Destruction, where the focus is now on the Mortal Empires. We're not having content in Realms of Chaos, so we want to allow people to have those kind of points to go after, things, little stories to experience, and culminating, as you say, in what should be quite an epic battle for him. But you don't have to do it. You can also experience the Mortal Empires as you can do at the moment. It's a lovely sandbox experience.
Good old sandbox.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. So in that sense, we just touched upon a little bit on the preference, how players can approach it. When it comes specifically to High Elves, so for the players who haven't played this faction before, what can they expect, and why have you decided to return them to the spotlight in this DLC?
It has been a while since we last updated the High Elves, and we felt that really they're in need for some love. And we know also that a lot of our players really want to play them, so adding this bit of cool content along with various updates related to the overall race was something that was very, very meaningful and relevant for us. Along with Aislinn, we are updating the entire race by allowing a form of confederation between the factions on Ulthuan and beyond, the High Elven factions. And we are also paying some more attention to some of the fan favorite lords out there, really pushing what we have in game to represent better who they are as a character.
Yeah, we really do want to have Teclis be one of the greatest mages out there.
Yeah.
Sorry, Balthazar.
Yeah, we acknowledged the feedback that we had from Omens, in that we didn't touch on maybe all the characters, all the fan favourites out there. So we wanted to make sure that Tyrion and Teclis have a little feature of each, which really kind of resonates with their characteristics. You know, whether that's towards the Tower of Hoeth and magic, for Teclis and for Tyrion being that kind of astute warrior, protective figure again. So there'll be more on that, hopefully, in the near future. But yeah, each of those will get a little bit of love and attention. And as Todor says, a uniting feature now for the High Elves. So if you want to think Great Book of Grudges and how you could combine and confederate the dwarves, well, this is a similar type of deal for the High Elves, which should be really good.
Yep.
The DLC and this update brings some spicy new units. So I'm looking at you, Milcha.
Oh, yes, of course.
Who you are excited to talk about today?
There's a ton of units that I want to showcase, but unfortunately we'll be just talking about a few of them right now. But we are finally bringing the Skycutters to the High Elves roster, and this is one of the most anticipated units out there. For those of you that don't know, those are basically flying chariots pulled by a great eagle through the sky, so they can be extremely menacing and shape the tactics on the battlefield. We have two variants of those units. One are just going to be armed with archers on top that are going to be shooting at enemies, while the others are going to have bolt throwers on them. So imagine having a bit of an artillery piece on a highly mobile sky chariot, basically, and this can be quite exciting. Of course, we are also making them as a mount for certain characters, not all High Elf characters, but Aislinn, for sure, is going to be able to mount one of those and bring it into battle. But this is not all, of course. We are leaning really heavily into the nautical theme with this faction, and so we are adding a lot of other units that are very flavored in that. With this being the Oceanids and their big brother, the Sea Elemental. So basically, those are water-based creatures. The Oceanids are monstrous infantry that are pretty much designed to take the blunt force of enemy attacks and withstand them, because them being made out of water, they are highly resistant to certain types of damage. I do suggest you bring some magic attacks against them if you want to be fighting them. And the Sea Elemental himself is also kind of this big monstrosity that is extremely good against enemy infantry, also having that special resistance, being an elemental as well, made out of pure water. We've made some incredible animations for all of them to make sure that they really stand out on the battlefield, and I really can't wait for you to see them in action, because they can look quite amazing. This is not all. With this being a whole nautical team, and Aislinn himself, one of the important features that we wanted to do is to add the new Mist Mage type of hero, which is a hero that brings with him a completely new lore of magic, with that being the lore of mists. Lores in the Warhammer universe can manipulate the winds of magic in different ways. So what you can expect from this lore is to have a bit of a supportive caster that is able to buff up your ranged units specifically quite well, allow your units to move through the shadows, gain stealth, surprise enemies, open up completely new battlefield tactics as you play, while also debilitating some of the enemies, and even summoning a unit of Oceanids out of nowhere just to block an enemy charge or just have them wherever you need on the battlefield. It's going to be a really great new way of playing with Magic with the High Elves. And we are excited for you to see all the effects and how we've managed to make those spells come to life.
It's pretty cool, really, like, because High Elves are so associated with Magic, and now they've got their own bespoke lore there to play around with. It should be really cool. And I think when you combine that with the campaign features that we're looking at with Aislinn and Commanding the Seas, we really spent a lot of time and effort to try and do a little bit more there. So yes, you will be able to see ships attacking ports from the sea rather than them hopping off onto land and turning into a character. And I think one of the fun things that we were looking at the other day was, to me, it almost felt like an aircraft carrier, because Aislinn was jumping off of the sea, flying over there with his sky cutter, besieging a little settlement inland. Yeah, it felt very thematic, shall we say.
Yeah, a mist mage mounted on top of a sky cutter, just masking all the other troops that are moving through the ground and attacking the enemies when they're least expecting it. That can be quite an awesome feeling.
Mist magic buffing archers stacks nicely with Aislinn's ability to buff archers.
Yeah, those things can stack quite a lot and provide a very interesting way of dealing with enemies.
From far away. I love it.
That sounds amazing. I'm really looking forward to Skycutter. That sounds like a chef kisses. With this update, we have revisited some plans for Slaanesh and Norsca. But what have you updated, and what else you are working on?
We're working on quite a few different things at the moment. For Slaanesh, we're just doing a general pass of things like techs, buildings, all the good stuff that people enjoy and do. We think they're in a pretty good state at the moment, but obviously you at home can tell us otherwise. But we are looking at things around cults and if we can do any improvements there. Again, things around unholy manifestations. So just trying to tighten up what we've got there as the core experience. But we are adding some cool little nuggets to the DLC itself.
Yeah, we are adding a new unit to Slaanesh, which is actually going to be Dark Elves that are devoted to Slaanesh, and that's why they have been shunned away from the other Dark Elf factions. And we're talking about the Devotees of Slaanesh. They're going to be a very good anti-infantry unit armed with 2 swords. That are going to be very dangerous on the battlefield. We are also adding a variant that is wielding crossbows as well. So Slaanesh is going to get a bit of a ranged unit variant if they need to. We're also doing a lot of other updates for other factions like Norsca. We're doing an update on the monster hunts by adding a bunch of new monsters that you can hunt. And we are changing the way you hunt monsters, and they're now going to be much more regionally specific, depending on if you are somewhere in the desert or up in the mountains or somewhere in the Empire lands. You are going to encounter different types of monsters. And after hunting those big nasties, you are going to receive some interesting trophies that unlock different abilities that you can then use in battle to dominate your enemies. This is not all we're doing for Norsca. We do want to have their identity of this faction that goes around the world to pillage. And so, yeah, we're doing updates there.
We were trying to picture in our minds that the entire process of, the Norscans coming and marauding and taking spoils away. So we're trying to figure out an interesting and engaging way to portray this sort of a logistics around the loot from someone's poor settlement, likely an Empire settlement. One more thing about Norscans and Sail in particular, because this is something that might be interesting to our players, is when you get Sail, you in fact get every Norscan's unit, right, Milcho?
Yeah, that's correct. Even though Norsca was originally a DLC faction, if you get the Sale faction pack, you are still going to receive all the units that originally were released, like all the Marauders, the Mammoths as well. So you can really feel like a Norscan.
Yeah, that's right. But if you want to play as Wolfic or Throg, you're still going after the original DLC to have fun with them, and they're getting some updates and improvements too as well. So Throg's getting some content around being the king of trolls, which you might have heard about before, and obviously Wolfric's got his famous Sea Fang to zip him around in his ship around the world. So yeah, they're going to be good too.
Yeah, can't wait for Sea Fang specifically.
Speaking of Sale, is there anything specific in the works for him?
Well, Sale is still this kind of cunning and manipulative character that can surprise his neighbors and his friends, let's say, with underhanded actions.
And as we mentioned about Aislinn, as Todor says, he does get his own narrative as well. So all three characters now have that as a part of their campaign feature set specific to them.
Oh, that's very nice. I bet our community is going to be really excited about that. Do we have anything prepared for the Kala?
Yeah, we've been going a little bit back to the drawing boards on her. Her experience wasn't quite right, wasn't quite what we wanted. I mean, she's a brutal character. She's wielding 6 swords, so she's there to do business, and she's going to be doing that now through the campaign through a feature around decadence, where her goal is essentially to create these really opulent pleasure palaces, and to do that, she's going to be using the thralls of the regions to sort of help create and build those, whether that's come from her war pits or from her thrall camp. So she's a really tough and brutal kind of a character. Well, windmilling and causing destruction throughout the world, and that's her focus.
Yeah, you've already seen some of her animations in battle, and she's really a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. And again, as I said with Sale, she'll have her narrative flow as well, leading up to that. Maybe not everyone is happy with how she does business.
Yeah, but the LDR, she means business. And that's it for today. We hope that you are as excited about the new content as we are. High Elves and Aislinn, new units, Lore of Mist, and of course updates for all 3 factions. Massive thank you to our developers, Todor, Rich, and Milcho, and of course everyone who is currently watching this at home or maybe on a bus. We, of course, are doing, as you know, live streams, so go check our Twitch and YouTube. You can make sure to go down to the description box below, find all of the information about that. And, of course, while you're there, check out our socials, because if you do that, you will find out everything that there is about upcoming news on 7.0 and, of course, Tides of Torment. Go to the comment section, tell us everything that you are excited about, and of course, show some love to our gang and everyone else who is currently working very, very hard to bring this DLC for you and get it in your hands. Thank you, and bye! And that's it for today. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us today. Todor, Rich, Milcho, and thank you there we go. We have a blooper! We did it.